This is A Course in Miracles, Chapter 2, The Separation and the Atonement. Section 1, The Origins of Separation. To extend is a fundamental aspect of God, which he gave to his Son. In the creation, God extended himself to his creations and imbued them with the same loving will to create. You have not only been fully created, but have also been created perfect. There is no emptiness in you. Because of your likeness to your Creator, you are creative. No child of God can lose this ability because it is inherent in what he is, but he can use it inappropriately by projecting. The inappropriate use of extension or projection occurs when you believe that some emptiness or lack exists in you and that you can fill it with your own ideas instead of truth. This process involves the following steps. First, you believe that what God created can be changed by your own mind. Second, you believe that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or lacking. Third, you believe that you can distort the creations of God, including yourself. Fourth, you believe that you can create yourself and that the direction of your own creation is up to you. These related distortions represent a picture of what actually occurred in the separation, or the detour into fear. None of this existed before the separation, nor does it actually exist now. Everything God created is like him. Extension, as undertaken by God, is similar to the inner radiance that the children of the Father inherit from him. Its real source is internal. This is as true of the Son as of the Father. In this sense, the creation includes both the creation of the Son by God and the Son's creations when his mind is healed. This requires God's endowment of the Son with free will, because all loving creation is freely given in one continuous line, in which all aspects are of the same order. The Garden of Eden, or the pre-separation condition, was a state of mind in which nothing was needed. When Adam listened to the lies of the serpent, all he heard was untruth. You do not have to continue to believe what is not true unless you choose to do so. All that can literally disappear in the twinkling of an eye, because it is merely a misperception. What is seen in dreams seems to be very real. Yet the Bible says that a deep sleep fell upon Adam, and nowhere is there reference to his waking up. The world has not yet experienced any comprehensive reawakening or rebirth. Such a rebirth is impossible as long as you continue to project or miscreate. It still remains within you, however, to extend as God extended his Spirit to you. In reality, this is your only choice because your free will has given you for your joy in creating the perfect. All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misperception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. Of course, you neither can nor have been able to do this. Here is the real basis for your escape from fear. The escape is brought about by your acceptance of the atonement, which enables you to realize that your errors never really occurred. Only after the deep sleep fell upon Adam could he experience nightmares. If a light is suddenly turned on while someone is dreaming a fearful dream, he may initially interpret the light itself as part of his dream and be afraid of it. However, when he awakens, the light is correctly perceived as the release from the dream, which is then no longer recorded reality. This release does not depend on illusions. The knowledge that illuminates not only sets you free, but also shows you clearly that you are free. Whatever lies you may believe are of no concern to the miracle, which can heal any of them with equal ease. It makes no distinctions among misperceptions. Its sole concern is to distinguish between truth on the one hand and error on the other. Some miracles may seem to be of greater magnitude than others, but remember the first principle in this course. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. In reality, you are perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love. These can be from yourself and others, from yourself to others, or from others to you. Peace is an attribute in you. You cannot find it outside. Illness is some form of external searching. Health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by the lack of love from without, and capable, through your acceptance of miracles, of correcting the conditions proceeding from lack of love in others. So, Chapter 2 and the concept of the separation and the atonement. The first time that I went through the course, it took me a while to really fully grasp what this even meant. Like, what was the separation? What is the sort of framework of the Course? What is the atonement? Like, it just felt like I was listening to these words and I had interpretations of these words, but I wasn't really getting the concept. And so what this and the way that this is really laying things out here is it's talking about the origins of separation. And so the origin being, well, the origin of separation is basically the concept of the Garden of Eden, or the pre-separation condition. So the Garden of Eden as the perfect example of that state of the non-dual existence, the state pre-separation where everything just is and everything is connected and there's no perception of separation at all. So everything is just whole. Basically, this goes into that moment when Adam listened to the lies of the serpent, quote unquote, and all he heard was untruth. And if the serpent was urging them to eat the apple from the knowledge of good and bad, of basically of duality, that was what the serpent was doing, was like, hey, maybe there's this possibility that it's not just one. Maybe there's this possibility that there's a dual world. Maybe there's more out there. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something more. And the interesting thing is that it actually says here that yet the Bible says that a deep sleep fell upon Adam, and nowhere is there reference to his waking up. I find that concept really interesting. So what this is basically saying is that from that Garden of Eden, Adam fell asleep, and basically everything that has happened since then is all a dream. That's essentially what this is pointing to. Some other fundamental concepts are also in this section. I'm just going to read the things that I highlighted that I think are important. There is no emptiness in you. The inappropriate use of extension or projection occurs when you believe that some emptiness or lack exists in you, and that you can fill it with your own ideas instead of truth. Truth being wholeness, truth being God, truth being lack of separation. And this is the kind of thing that, especially when you're doing the workbook, where you can actually pay attention to how you feel throughout the day, and those moments where you do feel emptiness, where you do feel some sort of lack. And ultimately, it always goes back down to that lack of feeling connected, the lack of feeling God, the lack of feeling whole. But this is really saying that that's not real, because there is no emptiness in you. You can't, on a deeper level, no matter what you're perceiving, no matter what you're experiencing, underneath that or beyond that, you are actually whole. You are actually full. And this is part of like what this 1,000 whatever page text is just helping us to remember, helping us to realize, is that we're basically whole, and we always have been and we always will be, no matter what we're perceiving. And hopefully just that bit of knowledge can be some respite for someone who needs that reminder. And it says that here, in reality, you are perfectly unaffected by all expressions of lack of love. These can be from yourself and others, from yourself to others, or from others to you. Peace is an attribute in you. You cannot find it outside. And I do believe that a lot of the things that we've been experiencing in this world can be rooted in this simple, when you're experiencing very challenging things, it may not seem that simple. But the solution is actually so much more simple than we like to think often. This is something that we often experience is projection and projecting whatever lack in others, seeing it in others, perceiving lack in others. But really that's coming from some sort of lack that we're feeling within ourselves. And essentially that perception of lack is coming just from forgetting that we're already whole. And this little nugget here is good. All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misperception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. The escape from fear is brought about by your acceptance of the atonement, which enables you to realize that your errors never really occurred. So this was a concept that it took me a very long time to really understand. So, like, what is the atonement? I feel like that's a word that I grew up hearing all the time, but I never really grasped what that meant. And through this lens of the course and the way that I've heard other people talk about it too, it's the at one-ment. It's the feeling of being at one, coming back to the oneness. And what that really is where anywhere that you feel guilt, anywhere that you perceive separation, the atonement is the acceptance of truth, meaning acceptance of the fact that those errors in perception were never really real and never really occurred. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to let go because we like to, as humans, we like to hold on to these errors. And this is really actually asking us to let go of even the perception that we've made an error. It's like if you're meditating, when you find yourself like not focused or you're just going on some tangent in your mind. And the idea is just to keep coming back, no matter how far you go, keep coming back. Say like new meditators, they might have like a thought about something totally random, and then there's a judgment on top of that, and then they end up being so far away from presence and so far away from any sense of peace. But the idea is you can always come back. You're always already there, and it just takes practice to keep remembering that you're actually already here.